In all ways but the one that matters most. Heather Larkin was dead. Once again, she is not who this story is about, but it is important to know this. Heather was dead to the extended Larkin family, who had never forgiven her for engineering her inheritance of Oak Pass Manor and the annexed film studio, usurping them in the process. It was not, she believed, her fault that her forged path did not allow for anything less than a charmed existence, and so she became estranged. She was dead inside, though she pretended she was not. This was easily achieved with a bright smile, some hairpins, and an air of cold exclusivity that encouraged others, apparent and occult alike, to follow her every move, wanting to touch the light she emitted, but being too afraid to get close at the same time. Not that Heather dealt with those undeserving of closeness. All her relationships were built on a healthy foundation of give and take, where others gave and she graciously accepted, leaving them open-mouthed like baby birds awaiting a worm. Even that image of desperate social hunger would have Heather recoil in disgust, despite it coming from her very own mind. And presently Heather Larkin was dead to the world. The potion, for want of a better description, her doting husband Howard had slipped into her nighttime sherry had taken hold. Her breathing was shallow, though crucially still there, for that was the only way in which Heather was not dead. So far. Her husband, as mentioned, was doting, though this was seldom reciprocated, and his reasons for using a potion by any other name were both acceptable, for she had a headache, and also unfortunate, for Heather had expected to receive a guest that night in the second-best parlour of Oak Pass Manor. An interviewee, to be precise. One who had hopes of joining Heather's society. The society itself was a gift Heather had the pleasure of bestowing on the best of occult and apparent society, all for the low, low price of marrying her least ugly and most biddable third cousin, capable of taking the title of lord. The house, for she called it a house both to appear somewhat demure and because manor implied staffing that Heather was loath to admit she did not have, was as grand as the beliefs she had about the world she inhabited. It was Heather's world, for the most part, and she held the respect of the most important folk from Racton, Alterton, and beyond, in her pale, delicate little hands. Of course, her being dead to the world and dead in all those other ways meant her husband was left unsupervised. So when a knock sounded on the great doors of Oak Pass Manor, Howard Larkin began to panic. Early. Biscuits, Missy, do you have them?" The maid he was speaking to, who was not and had not ever been named Missy, obliged none the less by pointing at the spread of sandwiches and tea on the great table beyond them. The interviewing chairs were waiting, and Howard's favourite fountain pen rested on the side table with sheafs of paper that he presumed were the contracts. He had never liked this parlour, and gladly went to meet his guest.